Welcome to Student Loan Television. My name is Heath Hullihen from Student Loan Insider, and this is episode 1. So let's go ahead and talk about who I am and what you can expect. So, as I said, my name is Heath Hullihen. I've actually started a company, Student Loan Insider, they've had for about the last year. We provide student loan services to people, such as, selling them bundles, giving, one-on-one financial advice, things like that. I'm going to get a little bit deeper here in a second to where my philosophy is going, but let me tell you a bit about myself. So, before starting this company, I worked for a student loan servicer for a couple of years. During that time, I helped tens of thousands of borrowers, almost 30,000 probably, definitely over 25,000, with things like forbearances, deferments, forgiveness, payment plans, deciding just basically what's right for them. And a couple of things that we're going to be doing here through student loan television is we're going to look at student loans in the news, stories about student loans, stories that pertain to student loans and people. We're going to talk about, answer questions actually that were sent in through during my time doing Student Loan Insider at studentloaninsider.org. We are going to do case studies to kind of show different ideas of how people can help with their student loan things, like, different payment plans, things like that. So, and just whatever else, comes up. So, what I want. Let's, before we talk about my philosophy and shift in philosophy, let's first look at a student loan in the news type thing. So this caught my eye yesterday, and I find it very interesting. It is the fact that Sweet Briar College is closing because of financial challenges. What people really find interesting about this is the fact that their endowment fund is actually fairly large. It's in the, I believe they said it was in the 95 million amount. But it's closing a 114-year-old private liberal arts college because of what's saying is insurmountable financial challenges. And it's going to shut its doors on August 25th. It's an all-women's college. It's some of the other stuff that happens. But what really, colleges do close from time to time. There was a college near me that was in danger of closing. Never actually did, but was definitely in danger of it. So what I'm going to do and talk about here is go on the Department of Education's website and tell you what happens basically if your college closes. And it really depends. So there is something that's called a school closure discharge. So the in this case here, you have to close while you're enrolled. So if you quit the school and a year later it closes, it doesn't matter. Just because you got the debt from that school and it's not there doesn't mean that you don't have to pay it. Or if you're with it, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be actively enrolled, but you have to be within 120 days of it. It used to be 90, it changed to 120 a couple months back. Now, you're not eligible if you can complete a comparable educational program at another school through a teach-out agreement, by transferring academic credits, or anything else comparable. So what it's pretty much telling you is that you have to have no other option. So if you're in a business program and you can transfer it to another business school, you weren't necessarily hurt. You know, but if you were in a program and the next closest thing for what you were doing was 1,000 miles away and you can't do it, then at that point you would qualify for, or may qualify for, a discharge, a school discharge. So that's actually, that's actually one of the things. It's not very common. Let me go ahead and look up the form for that and kind of go over that then. So school discharge. School closer. Discharge form. Okay, so actually we'll have it here in Federal Loan Servicing. It's one of the 4 servicers. And as as I said, it went from 90 days to 120 days. So it was before July 1st, 2014. You do it within 90 days. If it was after July 1st, 2014, it'd be 120 days. Now, the form itself. Not saying to send it to Federal Loan, but saying if your loans are with Federal Loan. Obviously, if they were a different servicer, you would send them there. Not just what happened to come up with our Google thing. But this application, you'd fill out the first section. You fill out whether you're a parent borrower for a school to close at the student, or a student borrower. If you are a parent, you fill out the school's information. If you're a student, you go straight to just fill out the information about the school, the dates you attended, the name of the program you had, and you fill out all of those questions. It's going to help determine if you qualify. So, and then at the end of page 2, you sign it and date it. And typically on these forms, and right here at section 7 on this one, it tells you where to send it. But if you don't know where to send it, just go and contact your servicer and they can tell you. So I guess the key here in this Sweet Briar story is that for you as someone who has student loans, you do have options in the event that your school closes. Now, so that's our student loan in the news segment here. We're going to try and do that maybe not every day we're doing it, but anytime anything interesting comes up, we'll certainly be going ahead and looking at that. Now, the other thing that I want to look at today for sure is talking about my kind of change in philosophy that has actually brought me to want to be doing this episode and helping this web show and helping people out. So, like I said, I worked for a servicer for a lot of years. And during my time with that servicer, we were trained to just plan with people's now. It's like, you can't afford your payment now, fine. What deferment or forbearance do you need? You can't, you need a form, now in terms of, the income plan. But nothing is viewing things down the road. It's just, what do I need now? So whenever I started this company, I kept concentrating on now because in my belief, it was everyone says we have a student loan problem, and I think we do, but nobody's saying how do we solve it. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to help people solve this. But I was doing it all wrong. I was telling people how to solve their now, but not showing their future. This is not just being able to afford your payment today is not going to help you get a house. It's not going to help you afford to move out into a different place. It's not giving you a roadmap to say, here's where I need to go next. So I sat down and I sketched a 7-stage plan on how to get out of student loan debt, how to actually defeat it. Now, we're going to go more step by step on this. We'll even go over a PowerPoint one day on this. And we will concentrate on different parts of the plan during this time. But I'm going to go over as an overview so you know where the basis of everything I'm saying is. So step 1 is going to be to figure out your situation. Know exactly how much student loan debt that you have. And that's obviously extremely important because you need, except if you don't know what your situation is, what's the use? I suggest you will do it through nslds.ed.gov, or if you have private loans, checking your credit report. Second is creating a budget to know where your money is going. If you don't have a budget, you may be spending money unwisely. So I always tell people just write it down. Once you write it down, you see where it is. Now, the next thing you go ahead and do, and I'm going to go ahead and show people the Department of Education website again for this at studentaid.ed.gov. I would suggest then seeing, does your student loan payment fit in your budget? If it does as it is, great. That's what you want. Especially because the more you can pay, the faster you're going to pay it off. But if you can't, what you would do next is go to a repayment estimator here and say, okay, what do I do now? And you can go there. We'll actually go over this one day as we're doing, step by step on this. But this, you go in here and you actually would be able to look at your loans and see what and see what loan payments or what loan programs you also may qualify for payment wise. If that fits in your budget, great. You've taken care of your now. That's kind of subset one. If you don't, then you got to take it back a step and say, okay, how can I afford my student loan payment? Do I need to work more? Start couponing? Is there a place in my budget I can cut because I'm going to have to eat too much, something like that? But anything you can to try to cut that down. And that's where I stopped previously. And that's still the main services I'm going to offer. But I also want to help people with their after that point. How do we actually defeat student loan debt? Well, I was a psychology major. I have a degree in psychology from Bucknell University. And I decided I need to actually attack the psychology end from this as well. And that has a lot to do with goal setting. We look at goal setting articles down the way, but you have to have your reason why. If you're I have a brother and sister-in-law right now. They're trying to buy a house and they need a down payment. Well, they were good in their jobs, whatever, but they needed that down payment. So this year they're working extra jobs when they previously didn't. And the reason why they had that motivation is they have a why to work those extra jobs. And that's the same with the student loans. When you have a why, you can make sacrifices. When you make sacrifices, you can be better. And when you're better, so it may be worse in the short term, but you'll become better in the long term as a result. And that's definitely need to do is have a reason to sacrifice. So then once you come up with your reason why, it's time to set a plan. And that's when the rest of my plan kicks in. So I have the next set is to come up with a emergency fund of sorts, just a buffer in case something goes wrong, because you gotta protect your castle with a moat, or else an alligator is gonna come across and eat you. So that's really important to do. And then from there going down, it's dividing up your loans in a way that makes sense to pay, which we'll talk about. It's goal setting. It's setting yourself incentives. It's being visual. I will talk about all those things and why they're important. And I'll be more than glad to help you with any of them along the way. I will show you. In fact, we can let's go ahead and check out my website real quick here at studentloaninsider.org. And as I start to implement this system, this may get a little bit updated here. But basically, this is just showing you, like I said, I have different plans and pricing you can do. And it's all really beneficial here. So, like I said, and there's different stages that help you with the different things you need. But the key thing we would focus on here is not being able to make a payment. We'll talk later about how does public service loan forgiveness affect you and what do you do with consolidation information. But ultimately, what I want to focus in on is setting an entire plan here with having a professional student loan evaluation. And I guess if we ever did do something like this together, we would just go through step by step. But what's most important here is wanting to set a goal as to deal with your now. Make sure you can afford your payments. Set a goal. Once your goal is set, then you know why you're doing it. And then you implement action and do everything you can, tear into it. And there's different sections we're going with, and we'll go over all of that. But that's what my philosophy is. That's what I want to promote. That's what we'll be looking at day after day. And when we're doing case studies, we'll kind of be plugging it into this formula of things we can be doing. So, if there's anything that you ever need from me, I'm really glad we're starting this adventure together. We'll be together as much as we possibly can. But what you do is you can contact me by email. Actually, we'll go ahead here to how to contact me. That'd be great. You can go email at heath@studentloaninsider.org or studentloaninsider@gmail.com. I also have some phone numbers here, but what I'm concentrating here is the social media. We have facebook.com/studentloaninsider. I'm at SDTNT Loan Insider. You can search my name, Heath Hullihen, on Google Plus, or I'm actually starting to build up a YouTube thing. And always you can go to studentloaninsider.org and get contacted with me. So that's the end here of episode 1. I'm looking forward to doing this from this point forward. And if you're on YouTube, leave me some comments. Tell me what you want to know. Email me some questions, because I'm definitely going to go into the questions I have just from people sent and go from there. Or just hit me up. I started this company because I wanted to help people. And that's what I want to do. So let me know how I can help you, and we will go from there. So thank you so much, and you have a great rest of your day.